next few teams to make it into the Final Four. We already know a couple teams that have made their way into the Elite Eight. We know that St. Peter's, North Carolina, Miami, Kansas, they're all going to be playing on Sunday. Two of those teams will try to make their way into the Final Four, but we're going to get our first two today, fellas. Before we talk about today's two games, I think we have to reflect a little bit on what happened yesterday, just in one particular game, in that is this with St. Peter's the biggest upset story run that we've seen in the history of professional sports? It's sort of hard to say because they haven't won yet, but I don't know. Do they even need to win, Beho, to more than where they are right now? They're the first number 15 seed that's ever made it to the Elite Eight. They beat Kentucky. They beat Purdue. They beat a Murray State team that was really, really good. And they're doing it. It's not like fluky what they're doing either. They're hitting big shots. It's like they're getting up, then teams are coming back, and then they're punching them back again. It's not the template that you see winning with these smaller schools. It's awesome. It's cool to see, but I'm like shocked as I'm watching this.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's exactly what this tournament, people want this tournament to be, the Cinderella that usually falls short of where they're at now. I mean, at this point, they're clearly a good basketball team, right? I mean, it's time to stop saying, oh, they are a 15 seed and what they're doing is incredible, but I mean, are they a 15 seed? Maybe the seeding got it wrong a little bit, but I mean, at this point, for my own personal enjoyment, I'd love to see them win this thing.
Oh my gosh.
Just tear it down.
Why not?
And I mean, how great of a story would that be?
Just incredible. So could you imagine, I mean, being North Carolina and 2-3 weeks ago, you may not have even been in this tournament. They had to win that win against Duke late in the year is what really sort of put them on the, put them in, because that was a game that everyone was watching. Everyone was watching the Coach K thing, and they just kicked the shit out of them that day. So that really helped them. And now it's funny, Eric, they are an 8-point favorite to try to get to the Final Four.
It's all about getting hot at the right time. I mean,
because nobody would have said that North Carolina or Miami or St. Peter's are possibly 3 of the 8 best basketball teams in the country this year. If they were in series, they probably wouldn't have beat a lot of the teams that they beat. But that's what makes this so great. You've done a really good job the last couple games in the rounds, Eric, too, and Leo has, in just sort of sniffing out the matchups. How do these teams shape up against each other? And that's what makes these games really fantastic. Even last night, the game, you think about the game with UCLA and North Carolina. UCLA is up by 3. It's like a minute to go. North Carolina misses a 3. UCLA goes up, and the rebound trickles off of one of their players' hand. It goes back to North Carolina, and they nail a 3 to tie the game. If UCLA grabs that rebound, they're up by 3 at least, with probably 30 seconds left to go in the game. If they make a basket, they're up by 5 with 30 seconds left to go in the game, and they probably win. It's that close how things flip. And now their season's done, and North Carolina's still alive. Hell, Miami, we saw it with my Trojans. 87% free throw shooter, misses the front end of a 1-and-1. That keeps them alive, and now, boom, they got an opportunity to get to the Final Four. It's nuts, Leo, and you've been doing a great job. You said you are still alive in the Elite Eight, my friend. So let's start with you today. Because you are someone who's had to really dive into these games for the BTV Best Handicapper bracket. Where do you lean with Houston, Villanova? I mean, has Houston been the most impressive team in the tournament so far?
Yeah, I mean, they really have. They've been absolutely fantastic. Villanova, I couldn't believe this line. I mean, when I was flipping through some of the videos that we have on BTV already, I look at it and I saw that Houston was a favorite. I couldn't believe my eyes. Everybody needs to calm down. I really, really like this Villanova team. Excellent ball movement. I know that they're small, but Houston's not all that big either. Houston's playing really well. This just feels like a massive overreaction. general philosophy, 50-50 games. I'm taking the underdog, but if we're being honest, I think Villanova should be the favorite here by 2.5 points, not the dog. I really like Villanova in this spot.
Gentry, we've got a Houston team that comes into this 32-5, 25-12 against the spread. Villanova 29-7, 19-16, and 1 against the spread. What makes this difficult is I think a lot of us, Gentry, just sort of we've been kind of waiting for Houston to sort of come back to life a little bit without some of their better players. They had 2 real key missing pieces, I think, in December. And so we're all kind of, okay, maybe they got through their conference and their league that wasn't all that strong. And then they're going to get out of conference play and into the tournament and they're going to lose. I mean, they've been really impressive. They kicked the shit out of Arizona the other day. I don't know what to do with this team because they're really well coached. They seem like they play really hard for each other. They play great defense. This is a good basketball team right now. Do you have any strong opinion, Houston, Villanova?
Yeah, I mean, to kind of contrast what Leo was saying, I actually like Houston here. You mentioned all their injuries back in December. I think they kind of struggled for, 3 weeks or so trying to figure out what they were going to do, how they were going to advance or, kind of move forward with what they have. And I think what you're seeing is a shortened rotation that everybody kind of knows their role and everybody's embracing it. And because of that, they're playing really well at the right time. They essentially, with the roster essentially changing availability wise, they kind of had about a month and a half. They were about a month and a half behind everybody else because they had to relearn what they were doing. Now it's clicking. And, you look at some teams that peak too early. I think in a way the injury early in the year benefits them, because they figured it out.
Like a blessing in disguise. Yeah, you're right. It's a good point.
If you have an injury like that real late, you're done. But
you don't have the time to kind of workshop it, right? Figure out, okay, now who's going to be our main ball handler? Who's going to be our secondary guy? Like everyone's got to start to take a new role now. Yeah. And they've done a fantastic job. So you're leaning on the Houston side.
Yeah, I do like Houston and I also like the over. I feel like, the way Houston does want to get up and down the floor, they do shoot quite a few threes. Villanova obviously does the same as far as numbers of attempts. So, if they're hitting shots, I really like the over here. But that's really all it comes down to, as usual. So,
Eric, Houston, Villanova, tight spread in this one, over under around 128.
I look at the game like this, looking at Nova's schedule. This is the first time they faced a team that's in the top 20 per KenPom from defense since November. So this really is going to be a struggle for them. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to what Gentry was saying, how Nova likes to take a lot of three-pointers. Houston does allow a lot of three-pointers. Teams only are shooting 32% open threes against Houston. I think Villanova is going to be able to make those threes. Gillespie, their point guard, who they like to run in the post, he has a 2-inch height advantage over Houston's starting point guard, Sheed. I think that's going to be a big key. And also in games that are close like this, we like to look at free throw percentage. Houston is 67%, 342nd in the country. Villanova is on the pace to be the best three-throw shooting team ever in the history of college basketball. And then lastly, everyone's talking about Houston in the offensive glass. Nova's averaging 10 offensive rebounds a game in the tournament. I like Nova here. I think their offense is too efficient. I think they're going to be making the threes. And I think Gillespie and the veteran leadership that he brings is going to propel them to the win in the cover.
Boom. And Eric, we trust, baby.
Houston, Villanova. Finish us up here on this game, Biho.
I just want, first and foremost, Leo to put some respect on Houston's name because I think he picks against them every single game, and they continue to dominate everyone they play. I'm rolling with them again. They've been the most impressive team in the tournament. Again, I think Villanova, like Eric said, Villanova's going to have to hit their threes. If Villanova doesn't hit their threes, they're going to be in big trouble today. But if they are hitting those threes with the way they hit their free throws, it's going to be a long day for Houston. But hey, Kelvin Sampson's a hell of a coach, guys. I mean, it's time again. He was at Indiana and got caught cheating.
We can talk about it not like unlike the people on the broadcast with, the guy got in trouble, right?
Yeah.
He got in trouble. They won't mention it, but he did. But since then, it's one of those things where it's like it's hard when you come back because that's always sticks in your head. You want to be like, oh, screw that guy, you know? But
Yeah.
he's doing a good job coaching his team. Right now, we're not even going to be in the situation anymore where we're really worried about paying players and stuff, right? With NIL situation. So we're not even going to be worried about like shady stuff like that. All I know is that when the players that he has are there on a court, he does a very good job getting them fired up, getting them to play, getting them to buy in, right?
And he's been rocking sweatpants. And any coach that'll just rock some sweatpants on the sideline, you got to give some credit to. But yeah, I mean, I had the conversation with Blackjack yesterday. Like, imagine he's at IU and doesn't cheat. Like, how much different that program could be right now, or how much different things would have been for him. So, you know, it is nice to see him come back and seemingly doing things the right way. And again, proving that he's a good basketball coach.
Yep. We get to Duke, Arkansas, Coach K trying to make it to the Final Four. Now, I will give Duke a lot of credit because I wasn't all that high on them coming into the tournament. They played the number one defense in Texas Tech, and they made 10 consecutive shots down the court to end the game, or they scored 10 times in a row to end the game. They were down by 3-4 points, the couple minutes left to go in the game, and their stars had to step up every time down and hit big shot after big shot, and they did. And you got to just give it up to them in that situation, because you can play good defense or you can do everything you can, but the better offense is going to win. If you're going to be able to make tough shots, you're still going to be able to get the job done even against really, really good defense. So, congratulations to Duke on that one. And then on the flip side, so for Arkansas, anytime you mention the referees in a game or something, people will get, well, I don't think that was the reason why they lost. Well, you're right. It doesn't matter. Two things can be correct, right? The referees in a game can be bad and they can have made a couple calls, but that also means that I don't know if that was the thing that determined the game for Arkansas beating Gonzaga, right? Arkansas played a lot harder than Gonzaga in that game. They maybe were the more deserving team, but there were probably two of those calls on Holmgren that were not fouls. That were not. That's all I'm saying. And so we nowadays, when you have a conversation with someone, everything has to be so like one way or the other, so linear, so extreme. It's not that way. There are layers to things, right? Arkansas played harder, but they still got the benefit of the doubt of a lot of calls in that game. I think both of those things can be true. So, moving from that and coming into this spot, Duke is around a 4-point favorite here. Eric, Arkansas didn't play very well last weekend. Then they did play much better in that game against Gonzaga. The matchup with Duke is interesting because Arkansas's defense has been the one thing they've had done throughout this tournament is play very good defense. They've been fantastic. And, we saw Duke run into a good defensive team. My worry with just this matchup in particular is that I feel like Texas Tech is a better version of Arkansas. Arkansas maybe has one or two of the guys that you can count on, like a Note down the stretch. But I thought Texas Tech does a lot of the same things that Arkansas does well, but better. And now Duke already kind of went through that tougher defense. Again, though, I didn't have the strongest opinion on either one of these games on the numbers. But how about you, Eric, as far as the number and the total is concerned here with Duke around a 4-point favorite?
Well, in terms of Arkansas, let's give Note credit. 21, 6 boards, 6 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. We all came on here and said he would have to have a game for them to beat the Zags. He had a game. To piggyback what you said about Arkansas and the fouls, we need to remember this team is 11th in the country in terms of forced fouls, drawing fouls in the game. So this is something they've done all year, is they're able to get teams into foul trouble.
And what happens is, Brian's mentioned this, what happens is it's like when you're a pitcher in baseball, right? And you become a good pitcher, the umpire gives you the benefit of the doubt on the calls that are outside the zone a little bit. So people start to know that about Arkansas, and then they get the benefit of the doubt on those close calls a lot of the time down low, just because what you're saying, Eric. And I'm not saying that it's not like they're not good at it, because we've seen Arkansas draw a lot of charges and do that. But it's one of those things where once you get that reputation, then all of a sudden the officials start treating you better, right? Like the stars in the NBA, how many times would Harden or Embiid get those calls on the pump fake? When you look at them, you're like, nobody touched them. What the hell happened there? Right. And that's sort of what happens. And it should lead into your handicap when you play Arkansas, because you got to build that into it. That's going to happen already.
Yeah, that's what they've been doing all season, like you said. In terms of Duke, much is being cried about their close to the game, but the game switched when they went to that 2-3 zone. Texas Tech was clicking at offense. Yep. When they switched to the 2-3 on defensively, Texas Tech lost all the rhythm. So you got to give Coach K and this stuff credit where credit is due. But when I look at this game,
cool at the end. Like Coach K was pretty jacked up at the end. And when I was, like I said, I'm not a Duke fan, so a lot of times I'm like, oh, I want to throw up. But when they smacked the floor, it was pretty cool at the end. Like I will give them the credit. That was pretty badass. Keep going, Eric.
When I look at this game, I agree. Like Arkansas and Texas Tech, great defensively, both basically the same in terms of forcing turnovers and their defensive efficiency ranked. But what Arkansas has that Texas Tech doesn't is someone that can get to the rim, create, and hit someone in stride when you roll twos at them. So I like Arkansas here. It's sitting at 4. It opened up at 3.5. I think Duke's going to be the public dog here. I'm going to see if I can get a 4.5, a 5, and then get Arkansas. But I'm going to be in Arkansas, but I'm just waiting right now.
Gentry says the connection isn't very good right now. Go ahead, buddy. Pop on in, pop on out. We'll see if you have anything to say about Arkansas, Duke. Beho, Coach K, 31-6, 19, 16-2. We got on the Arkansas side 28-8, 21-14-1 ATS. Any strong opinion here?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. The end of that game, Coach K, and how much emotion he was showing was something you've not seen out of him.
Yeah.
He was so jacked when he did like that fist pump or whatever you want to call it.
It was like a tiger thing, right? They were calling it the yeah.
Yeah. Like, okay, they still got it. I mean, I still can't believe they did what they did at the end of the Texas Tech game. And, like you said, we've all been down on them for a while now and saying they're just not a great team. But, I mean, at this point, maybe they are a great team. Maybe they're starting to get it and it's starting to click.
The one thing I will say about them, they are extremely, I trust, 3 of their stars down the stretch. They've proven to be pretty clutch, that they're big shot makers at the moment. Compare what you saw from a couple of the Duke guys last night to what you saw from Ivy.
Yeah.
At Purdue. That guy curled up in a ball in a big moment. He was nowhere. He airballed like a runner that they needed. It was like, what the hell was that? And then you've got the Duke guys who are what's the guard's? It was the guard's name who was yo-yoing him up and down. You could see that he was timing the shot clock and just perfectly running it down. It was NBA style plays and clock management. Just fantastic stuff from Duke down the stretch there. Yeah. But I sort of agree with Eric's sentiment in that the difference between Texas Tech and this Arkansas team is that Arkansas does have a guy like a Note. He is the type of guy, though, Gentry, that can win you games, but he can kind of shoot you out of games too. And he does that every now and then when, it took him a lot to get to those numbers last night. So it's one of those things where you kind of live with him and you die with him sometimes.
Yeah, well, you mentioned how hard Arkansas had played, defensively so far in the tournament. And I think that's kind of really who they are. In their losses, it's games where they kind of came out, looked lethargic in the regular season. The effort wasn't there, I guess. And it seems like when they want to play, this is what you get, and, you kind of compared them to Texas Tech, but I would say it's Texas Tech with an offense. So it's kind of, when they're really clicking and when they're really interested in what's going on, I feel like we've seen what they're capable of, even though they kind of had to survive and advance the first couple games. And then they won the big one against Gonzaga. It's, I feel like this is a matchup against Duke where, as much as I lean towards Duke to somehow win this game to get to the Final Four, I feel like Arkansas is going to be there in the end. And, it's going to come down to some whistles probably or the lack thereof.
That's what's so tough about that number, right? Because it's 4 and you're playing it out in your head. You're like, okay, it's a 3-point game down the stretch, and then the fouls start.
Yeah, I mean, I do this in football. Obviously, everybody does this in football. You try to gauge the spread based on possessions, right? Yeah. So here, now that you're kind of reaching the Elite Eight and Final Four, I'm kind of looking at the numbers based on possessions. So, a 2 to 3 possession game is kind of what I would expect in the end. But I think Arkansas, if they're getting whistles like they did against Gonzaga, I really see them hanging in it.
How did Doug Shows get back-to-back Arkansas games, by the way? Yeah. I mean, I mentioned his name very specifically about their game before, and then he was the one that called those 2 fouls you're talking about on Holmgren.
I know.
And it's a complete shit show. I'm hoping.
How Doug Shows gets a Sweet 16 game period is beyond me.
I mean, because I don't know what you're supposed to do when you saw the guy, right? And again, he's thin. I'm a skinny guy. I know this. When I was playing soccer my whole life, this is what people did to me because I was decent a few years. So when I would score goals, people would try to beat the shit out of me because I was a small guy. So they come right at you. Like they try to hurt you because they think, oh, he's thin. I'm going to punch him in the chest and do that. So that's what they were doing to Holmgren, right? You could tell that somebody gave him go right at the guy's chest. That's literally what you could see them doing. But he would just go straight up. He was just going straight
and
up.
And a true straight up too. Not the ones that people try to act like they're straight up. He was straight up, on the 4th or 5th foul.
That they were going right into his belly, and so I saw I think Darren, our friend DZ, he tweeted what are you supposed to do if you're Holmgren at that point? You're supposed to just get out of the way and Ole Matador?
If we're being honest, fall down when they hit your chest, and
I know
get a charge.
That's what you do. Ole, you got the bull right there.
I mean, again, and the only thing that gives me, and that's why I'm going to be on Duke today, is because if there's one team that always gets calls, it's Duke. So I can't imagine Arkansas getting the benefit of the whistle today against Coach K and Duke.
I like that.
So I think Duke's taking this one home today.
I like that narrative. Thinking here. Leo, where are you going to lean in the contest on this game?
All right, guys, this is my favorite pick of the night. We've been talking about it. It feels like everything's lined up for Duke to win this national championship, and we're going to try to, have – whoa.
Beho.
We need – oh, nope, that's not what we're looking for, folks. All right, so listen, we've been talking about Duke, and everybody's starting to feel like, oh, this is Coach K. He's going to win a national championship. Everybody's starting to get on that bandwagon. Not me, my friend. This is a perfect spot to fade the public. Eric, you talked about JD Note. Yeah, he had a really good game where he filled up the box score. But guess what? He couldn't shoot the ball to save his freaking life the other night. I mean, he ends up with 21 points. He shot 9 of 29 and was 2 of 12 from 3. He pulled a Kobe. He scored 60 points, but had to take 60 shots to do it.
Hey,
easy on Mamba there.
I knew I'd get you on that one, Dino. But listen, I'm expecting a better game from Note here. The refs are going to be a crucial part of this. Everybody's going to be on Duke. It's time to fade the public. I have a feeling that Arkansas is going to find a way to win this game. And by the way, they have a lot of talented players here. Biho, I know how much you hate Jalen Williams, but that dude's playing his ass off.
No. It's not that I hate him. Leo, I've said on here before, he's an outstanding player. If he just learned to play defense correctly, he would be an NBA player.
He would be a big. Yeah. It's the way you are. If you're a big and you take those, I don't mind if you're a point guard and you take the charges there because
you're wearing pads. You're a big that wears pads.
Kyle Lowry or you're Alex Caruso and you're taking these charges. Totally understand, right? But dude, go up for it and try to block that freaking shot. I understand why it rubs you the wrong way. But Leo, you are right. It's not as if it's a Note and everybody else team. They've got some talent there. Absolutely. Even when Note struggles, they still have guys that can put the ball in the basket and top tier talent.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this too. Like, we haven't been high on Duke. Before this tournament, I don't think any of us were very high on Duke. And again, I'm one of these guys where, like, yeah, they're starting to play the right way.
High on Arkansas either. That's the only problem.
I mean, listen, my motto on Arkansas all year has been you fade them as a favorite and you're taking them as a dog. They're a dog tonight.
Point.
But you know what? I got one more announcement here. And guess what? I've been on fire picking the public props. I was smart enough yesterday to let Eric take the public prop. And Eric, congratulations, you nailed it. Hopefully you got a thank you from the guy that won $250. But we've now hit 4 straight public props that I've been involved picking in, unlike Beho. But this is going to be tonight's public prop. I love Arkansas getting the 4 points. This is an absolutely fantastic play. I'm trying to give away another $250 on Nitro. And make sure you guys thank me this time. That'd be great. Okay, because this is going to be 4 in a row for me. 5 in a row with picking who's going to pick the prop. You're welcome, everybody.
You're welcome. So tonight, another giveaway from Better Than Vegas. Make sure you follow along at BTV Bets. Folks, we just want to give away money to you all the time. We want to make your life a little bit easier. Want to put a few bucks into your account. That way, you know, it's going to build your bankroll. And if you want to help us out and show a little support for us, head on over to oldsmokeclothing.com/BTV. Take a look at this t-shirt that we've got there. It's a collaboration with Old Smoke Clothing. I don't bet, I win. You can walk around and feel like a winner, even if you've been having a rough weekend. Or, you know, this is something that I'm sure you tell your significant other when they say, hey, Leo, you bet a little bit too much this month. And then you say right back, hey, I don't bet, I win. I win. You know, that's what it's all about. Right?
I've been telling people too, this is something that you buy for your significant other. Buy 2 of these shirts. One for you to rock when you're on a hot streak,
friends,
and one for your girl.
Yep.
No, everybody wants to see their girl wearing this shirt.
Yep. And
Look at that shirt.
Because basically when I see Stephanie wearing that shirt, I'm so self-absorbed, I think she's talking about me. Right? I'm like, oh yeah, you won at life because of me. So that's how it's all like, look at that. Like, whoa, you got the bet. You are a winner, Stephanie.
It's getting deep in here.
Congratulations. You won. You got me. So, fellas, it has been a blast previewing these games with you. It's really cool when you look back and you see how quickly things move in this tournament, right? Where we were just a week and a half ago previewing this whole damn thing. We were sitting up at 6 a.m. looking through the bracket. It was 3:00 Pacific time. We were having a blast, and now we're here, and we're going to know a little lot later on today the first 2 teams in the Final Four. Lots of storyline with Coach K trying to make it in his final season. Eric, buddy, you've done a fantastic job all the way through. Keep up the great work, my friend. Beho, good luck to you. I'll see you a little later on today for some Mohawk Mania. Gentry, my man, we'll see you back tomorrow morning. Thanks so much for your help all throughout these Cutting Net shows. And Leo, good luck to you in that bracket, my friend. I want to make sure to see you in the Final Four. You're representing BTV. You're representing all of us, my friend. It's on you now. The weight of the world is on your shoulders, Leo. So pressure time, my friend. Good luck for you.
Tough break, folks.
Yeah, good luck today. Good luck, fellas, and good luck to everyone out there. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We'll be back here with you tomorrow morning, same time. We'll set you up for those 2 games, even though they are later on in the day, but we'll keep our same time early in the morning since we've had that. And later on today, we will have that special edition of Mohawk Mania, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Brian, myself, Blackjack will preview the early pick 5 for you, and we'll also set up a mandatory payout in the super high 5 today. That pool is going to be massive. They're expecting a couple million in there, so we're going to have a lot of money to shoot for and tons of action every day right here on BTV Bets.